Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I'm back with a Divine Masculine reading as promised, and this is for the general collective. I just want to start by saying a big thanks to everyone who has commented and liked and shared the video. I obviously love interacting with you guys. I'm gonna try my very best to be more regular in how I do my readings, and also I just want to make a quick announcement about the last reading. I had to listen to it myself, and one thing that really struck me was the amount of times I said the word, well, the phrase and it struck me, and I know that it annoys a lot of people. I know they don't always say it, but I know that it does. And I just want to say, I don't normally when I'm speaking in conversation, not that much anyway. And it really struck me when I was listening to it, the actual tone that I use, it's actually part of the reading. I am going to try and do it a little bit less, but that sound is very similar to at my ashram, my meditation and yoga place. The way that they utter the sound, which most people understand to be Om, as in, you know, or when people meditate and stuff like that, the primordial sound from which everything, all of creation, the first, you know, first there was the sound, etc., as said in the Bible. It's the same in Hinduism. The first thing that came out of the nothingness was the sound, and that sound was Om. But at my place, it's very specifically said that we chant it in a different way, and that way is which is kind of similar, if you'll notice, to the sounds that I make when I do my channelings and my readings, which always involve a bit of channeling, and it's very similar to that sound. It's also a way for me to connect with the energies, and it's a good sound to listen to. If you get annoyed by it, then you get annoyed by it. You've got two choices: either you deal with it and you listen to the messages, or you don't deal with it and you don't get the messages. So it's up to you what you want to do with it. I will try and do it less, but know that if it's there, it does help the readings, and it's a good sign. It's a good sound to connect with. So if you can connect with it and benefit from it, you might as well. Okay, so with that said, let's go on with the reading. So we have my regular Queen of Heaven spread here. Please excuse my nails, they are disgusting. I need to do them again. Apologies. I do like to make the effort for you guys, but I just haven't had the chance, really. I haven't actually found a nail place that's that good. Anyway, I digress. To the reading. This is where the Divine Masculine was. This is where they are right now. This is where they're likely to go. Advice, how they feel towards the reading, or towards the union, what they want to say to the Divine Feminine, challenges, what they've been doing well, and overriding energies. Let's start with where they were. We have got this card, the Nine of Cups, but it was reversed. And with it in the reverse position, they actually felt that they had lost everything that they wanted to have. They might have felt like they had been making progress, and then something happened and they just felt that everything drained away and slipped away from them. That's where they were. This situation and this feeling that they were experiencing was there for a reason, and it happened as a trigger to trigger, what can I say? How can I say it? Old patterns that are, it's actually the old patterns and the old way of being that was draining away, whether they recognized it or not. It probably didn't feel like it was a good thing, but it is. It's actually a good thing, because this is an opportunity for them to let go. It was actually being taken away, all the things that weren't serving them, the old patterns, the remnants of the old way of being that didn't help them. That was what was being taken away. So, but it felt very unpleasant. It felt like they had lost all the gains that they made, that they worked very hard. It's almost like a strong suit. It's all the things that they built up within themselves that was part of, they thought it was part of their identity. That is what has been taken away and eroded but it was painful for them and it felt like a very bad thing. However, what it leads to is this Devil card in reverse, and this is a loss of the ego. It's a breaking down of the ego and the control that the ego had over the divine masculine. The mind, the more negative aspects of the mind, the rigid aspects of the mind, the controlling, the grip that the mind had on the divine masculine, whether they were being overly rational, anything that was, all the aspects of the mind that was standing in the way of the union, those things are going. The mind is still there. It's just now the people are above the mind. So the humanity, the humans, the human aspect, the higher selves are above and controlling or taking more control of the mind and using the mind in the way that it should be used. So it's really, really good. So the mind's, the ego's grip on the divine masculine is being relinquished, if not has already been relinquished. This is giving them a new perspective. It's giving them, I'm also seeing the Hanged Man, so it's giving them a much different perspective, and it's also helping the Hanged Man always reminds me of the headstand position in yoga as well, which is known as the king of asanas, the king of positions, really. And it's because it really helps with drawing the energies and also the blood flow to the brain, and it helps with ascension. So all the energy basically goes to the head, travels up the spinal cord, and that's what's happening to them. There is there is an upsurge of energies. This is especially good because in a couple of days' time, it's the 11th right now when I'm doing this, where I am, and in a couple of days' time on the 13th there's going to be the solar eclipse and Shivaratri, the night of Shiva. And this is going to be a phenomenal time because it's a new moon as well. It's a really good, it's very beneficial for masculine energies. So they feel it more than they feel the full moon. But it is a continuation over the eclipse season that we've been enjoying, and it's going to be very, very powerful for them. It's going to give them a lot of clarity. It's going to give them breakthroughs. Some people could find it very uncomfortable, but they are the overriding outcome is going to be a lot of clarity for the divine masculine. It's interesting how for the where they're going cards, we've got two. We've got more major arcanas. We've got the Magician and the Tower. So on the one hand, there's going to be a loss of all kinds of structures that are no longer serving a purpose. The people that didn't let go of the things that they had the opportunity to let go of, they are going to experience much more of a tower energy, and it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be scary, and they're not going to like it. They're going to be fate is going to force their hand. But those people who have been doing the work and going with the flow and relinquishing the control that the ego has, overcoming their ego, they're going to be in the state of the Magician. They are going to be in control of, they're going to feel a lot more in control and a lot more creative. They're going to feel rich. They're going to feel abundant. Just look at the difference between these two cards. For some people, it's going to be extremely dark. For some people, it's going to be extremely bright. So let's hope and pray that for everyone's counterparts that are watching this reading, that they are going to be in a position of the Magician. I'm also getting for people who are closer to union, they will be more in this Magician energy. For the later waves, if you want to call them waves, they're going to experience more of a tower energy. But always remember with the tower as well, this is divine intervention right there. This is blowing the top off this structure. This is very much like, again, a rising up of the energies. And that is for, in any case, even if it feels unpleasant, it's going to be, the end effect is going to be very beneficial for them. And that's what we always have to hold on to and trust that only good things are going to happen. What's the advice for the divine masculine? It's this. It's the Seven of Swords in reverse. this is an energy of, he's like stealthy. He's taking these things, and I'm really seeing that he's making sure that no one's seeing him do it. He's taking them. It's stealing. But in the reverse, the divine masculine is being encouraged as advice to pay back his dues, is what I've just literally got. So everything that he has taken from the divine feminine, actually, taken from the energy from the relationship, he should try and give it back. He should try and, before I was just getting, he should try and give something back, but this is very specifically the things that he has taken, he should return them. So what that translates to, what that means is, if he feels that he's taken liberties, if he feels that he's taken advantage, if he feels, and he has, I'm getting, he wants to do this, he wants to make up for what he's done, he wants to make things right, he wants to give back everything and more. He didn't think that he was taking everything, he still left some of these swords here, but he wants to give back more than he's taken. So whether that's in the form of gifts, whether that's in the form of psychic protection, psychic gifts, psychic, basically, whether it's on the 5D or if it's in the physical, but I'm also being drawn to the red and the yellow in these cards, and it is a very physical thing. Energy's physical anyway, but he wants to give back, and he especially wants to give back because he's taken so much. He knows that he's taken a lot from the union, from the divine feminine, and he wants to make amends. How he feels towards the union right now. 3 cards came up, and let's go in sequence. So first of all, we got this, the 4 of Cups, then we got the Knight of Cups, and finally the Empress. It's quite an obvious story that these tell, and again, it's 2 different waves. So for some people, maybe on the later waves, the divine masculine is, I'm seeing this as being a very immature young person, and the energy that I'm getting is almost a tantrum, a little temper tantrum, like a child saying, I don't want it, I don't want that, and throwing a bit of a hissy fit. So this is a sign of not being ready. It's a sign of refusal, protest, stubbornness, almost like a little toddler. But that, for some people, is gonna, if it's not given way already for the people that are closer to union, we've got this, the Knight of Cups, and this is a more mature, this is the man. He's now ready, and he wants to give an offering of his heart to the Empress, who is the divine feminine, and he very much sees the divine feminine as the Empress. And divine feminines, those of you who have been doing your work, you are the Empress. You are the epitome of openness, of love, and of acceptance. So if the divine feminine, if your union is at a stage where you are in a state of this kind of level of acceptance, then the divine masculine will be able to actually approach you and give you himself, offer himself to you. But you can see that this guy, he can't accept anything. He's very closed off. So what I'm also getting is that divine feminines, you have a say in changing this into this. And the key for that is for you to be in this state of acceptance, in this state of just, the cup runneth over. I'm seeing this ace of, I'm feeling an Ace of Cups energy of you just are, you are embodying love. And when you are embodying love, you're like the ocean, and the ocean just accepts everything that is given to it. And that's why all rivers flow into the ocean. So this is like a small cup. This is a river. This cup is a small river, and that's flowing towards the ocean. And this is also divine feminines. You don't need to try and force anything onto the divine masculine at this point either, because they want to be the ones coming to you when they feel ready, very much when they feel ready. So this can be all three as a sequence for some people, or they can be separate. So just feel your own intuition to sort of decipher which of those messages applies to you. What do they want to say to you? The messages I'm getting from this Two of Wands is very much to do with patience, but also faith. Patience, but also faith. So that's what you have to do. Be very, very steadfast in your knowing. And you have so much in your hands at the moment. It's actually a very creative card. The message that I'm getting is that this globe here, it's almost like a crystal ball that he's looking into, thinking about the future and knowing that good things are going to happen. So it's having faith and creating. It's also very creative. It's again, it's a lesser version of the magician. It's a lesser version of the magician. They've got the robes. It's kind of to do with, think about whatever it is that you want to manifest and that you want to happen, and that will help bring it into the physical. I'm seeing a connection between the thoughts, this guy's thoughts and wants, and this crystal ball. What's the challenge? The challenge right now for the divine masculine, the main card that came up was this Two of Swords, and it's all to do, and also the Temperance card came up too, and it's all to do with balance. So the divine masculine right now, he's still looking within. I did a reading for myself a couple of days ago, and there was one message that was for everybody else, and that was, this card came up as well. It came up in the what they want to say position, and it's very much to do with, they have been doing a lot of, the reason they ran away, many of them retreated, was because they had to look within. They had to look within. So another message that I was really feeling perhaps last week, and I didn't have time to actually do a video to talk about it at the time, but I'll do it now because it's still relevant to a point. I saw a lot of Seven of Cups energy. I kept seeing the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Cups. And if you remember the actual imagery from the Seven of Cups, there's all sorts of different things, good things and bad things, like monsters and other things that this figure, this man is confronted with. And the man is all blacked out, the figure is all blacked out. So the message was, the divine masculine has been confronting, especially those on the first waves, like the ones that are close to union, the ones that did seem really close, then went away or whatever, and then, you know, or even if it was just energetically that you felt them do that, or you did that if you are divine masculine. Those people, they have been confronting things that they never wanted to confront before, and it's very overwhelming and confusing for them, but they have been making sense of it, and they've been doing it on their own. And they had to go off and do it on their own because it almost made them feel wounded, because they were finally facing up to the fact that there might have been things that weren't that desirable in their psyche, in their personality. They'd done things that weren't that great, and they were finally taking responsibility for them. So that was why, and they had to go within. They had to do it by themselves, and they had to figure it out. Almost like when animals get hurt, they go off by themselves to lick their wounds or whatever. It was almost that kind of energy that I was getting. So that was in what they wanted to say. This is kind of a bit of a hangover from that, and they're very much finding their balance. They're very much finding their balance. This is on the physical and energetic and spiritual level and emotional level. And this is on the divine level. They're also getting a lot of help from the divine, from God, from the angels, whatever you want to call it, the universe. their energies are, they are surrounded by the energies of their, this is actually the divine masculine of their higher self. So on the inner plane, the divine masculine's higher self is doing everything for them and making it clear. It's actually all of this happening, these happenings are being made sense of in the conscious mind of the divine masculine. So that's the kind of thing that they are processing right now. Very important time. It is challenging. They still find it very challenging, but the divine is there helping them, and the divine masculine's higher selves are really doing a lot of work behind the scenes. So you can see that there's a lot of movement happening here with the flow of the water. There's a lot of interchange, interaction. But here it looks very static, but that's an illusion because that's what's really going on. What have the divine masculines done well? They've done a really good job this past week of letting go of all this poverty mentality. So they're not feeling like victims anymore. They've stopped kind of sitting around and feeling sorry for themselves. They're actually starting to take action, starting to feel empowered, and starting to actually be doers instead of just little children. And they're letting go of this feeling of beggar energy. The underlying energies are the Ace of Pentacles. So it's new starts, it's creation, it's manifestation, and it's in the physical world as well. So they are starting to do stuff and act and achieve and really make moves in the physical world. And the underlying, another card that I always pay attention to, the card that refuses to come out with the rest of the cards, and the one that stayed in the box this time was the Chariot. So I was struck by the fact that it was a divine masculine looking so powerful and strong and in control, and it's also the card of movement and forward motion. So that's what's happening right now. Really, really, really positive. No matter what it looks like, things might look, oh, what was that? Things might look different on the surface, but don't pay attention to things on the surface because it's all about energy, and there are many, many different dimensions of what is happening and what we're doing and our role here and now. But things are going to start happening in the physical. This is the next stage. This is very much what's going to happen now. And beneath this card here, you can see the victory card. It's the Six of Wands as well, and this is a very, very, very triumphant looking masculine, divine masculine, marching home on his horse, again mirroring the Knight of Cups. So really, really strong, positive, forward motions. He's also, this guy here is also moving in the direction of the divine feminine as well. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. Again, apologies for the setup, and please do join me next time. I'm going to be doing a divine feminine reading as well. Have a great, great week. Have a great Valentine's Day. It's going to be my birthday as well, and just make sure you stay in high vibrations, treat yourself well, enjoy time with your loved ones, with friends and family, speak to them if you're not spending it with anyone else, and in the 5D, spend time with your counterpart if you wish as well. But make sure you have a great time, and as always, don't get bogged down in the kind of the superficial reality of things. Just always remember that it's just another day, if you need to remember that. And think of the bigger picture. It's very, very important that you see these things for what they are, and you go deeper, and you ask questions, and you come to your own understanding about these things. So don't just take what society, all these old, programming, these old kind of restrictions essentially that society's put on you. You can choose to leave them in the past and create your own meaning for them, and always remember that. So that's all I want to say, really. So lots of love, lots of light, lots of everything good to all of you guys, and I'll speak to you very soon. Okay, bye.